Christian Datoc, and Christian is in the briefing room, as we can see. That is the criticism, and it's come from not only the Democrats but many Americans.
It is. No one really expects to deal with a tragedy this quickly into a term in office. But let's not forget, this is Donald Trump's second crack at the apple. That being said, after that tragic plane crash occurred Wednesday night, there were a lot of folks on social media blaming Donald Trump's freezing of federal hires, specifically at the FAA, for potentially contributing to the accident. Fast forward one day, Donald Trump comes in the briefing room, speaks to reporters, and he puts the blame fully on DEI. That's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that he claims lowered standards for hiring at FAA and other agencies, Tim. So it's still very early after this tragedy has happened. But again, a lot of fingers being pointed on both sides of the aisle before the dust has even settled.
It was very jarring, wasn't it, for many people to hear those words while first responders were still working in a frigid Potomac River?
It was, and I can tell you, living in D.C., we could hear the sirens of first responders reporting, and we don't even live anywhere down close to the Anacostia or the Potomac rivers. Again, just the speed with which this occurred, I think America collectively should take a step back, and in incidents like this, say, let's wait till the facts come out before we start trying to figure out who exactly is at fault. And let's not forget about the families of the victims out in Kansas. There were more than 60 people on board that flight, none of whom did survive, unfortunately. And it must have been like going through hell for those people while they were waiting to hear about their loved ones.
Oh, absolutely. And our hearts go out to all of those people. Now, changing subjects for a moment, Christian, the first 2 weeks of the Trump administration, you've been there, you've been watching it up close. It's been a bit of a Hollywood thriller, really, if you look at it, and it's hard to look away.
It's hard to look away, but for us in the press, we really have no choice, just again, because of the speed at which Donald Trump and this administration are trying to address their priorities. Again, if you transport back to before the election, Donald Trump promises hundreds of things he's going to do on day one. And while he didn't get to all of them on January 20th, he's certainly quickly working his way down that checklist. Just earlier today, we had Caroline Leavitt in the briefing room talking about how Donald Trump's deportation agenda and his push to crack down on illegal immigration at the border. She was showing immigrants in America with criminal records who are here illegally, who have been arrested by the administration, who are in the process of being deported. Again, it's early days here in the Trump administration 2.0, as we're calling it, and it's very difficult to look away, but that's mostly because of all of the things this White House is attempting to do in its early stages.
You mentioned the deportation. It's come with a fair deal of controversy.
It has, and we know that was going to be the case. I mean, Donald Trump's immigration priorities and policies were heavily criticized by other people on the Democratic side of the aisle, not only during his first term, but during his 2024 campaign. And again, let's not forget, this is really stretched back to 2022. He ran for 2 years because he announced just days after Republicans won a big majority in the midterm elections. And again, I do think the way that the Trump administration has sort of telegraphed their punches, none of this is a surprise. So Democrats are sort of having trouble trying to rally around and express the same sort of outrage and even energy in resistance that they did during Trump's first term.
Finally, Christian, and we expected this, there's been sackings at 10 paces in the Justice Department.
That's correct. And again, Donald Trump had told us before he entered office, I'm going to not only cut the federal bureaucracy, but some of his allies had suggested the Trump loyalty litmus test is going to be a primary way of figuring out who is going to be working in this administration, even though a lot of those agency jobs are traditionally held by career civil servants, career bureaucrats. The information is clear that's coming out of this White House. They want to be able to implement the president's agenda. And if you're going to potentially be a roadblock on that, you can hit the road.
Christian, you're definitely right on the spot there. It is always great to chat. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Tim. Be well.